From the inner sense of time comes the ancient poet's rhyme, bringing us the master key to open up the mystery. From the depth of time and space, we arrive in quiet grace, finding what is meant to be as we explore the mystery, pouring forth from days gone by. We can hear the poet sigh from the depth of ecstasy, moving into mystery. Hello and welcome again to Creative Connections. Today my guest is Tracey Kida from Mystic Grove Goods.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So you are a crafter.
Yes.
You are a music teacher.
I am.
Musician.
I do a little bit of everything.
Educator. So
yes.
We'll start out by talking about some of the craft work that you do. My wife and I came across your work at Just a Little Craft Store in Palmer.
Yes.
And you've got a little bit of everything. Why don't you start talking about some of the things that you brought with you?
Okay. Well, I started out making mostly jewelry. I like working with stones, different stones that have different meanings to them. I do simple wire wrapping. And then I got into more other things. You know, wire wrapping is very popular right now. So I make jewelry with earrings along the pagan fairy themes, a lot of Halloween stuff. But recently I've got into making stuff for children, and I have fairy wands, the different seasons I've been working on. We make decorative signs for the home of all kinds of pagan and inspirational sayings and pictures. And recently I've got into holiday decor, specifically witchy apothecary jars. And so I'm doing a spring collection that has fairy bottles, so it's a fairy dust, and we've got dragonfly wings and unicorn horns. And these will be at the Just a Little Craft Store this weekend, and several craft fairs that we have coming up in the area. My husband is also part of the business, and he does wood burning. Oh. Mostly spoons. It's something unique, you know, to the other wood burners out there. Mostly, you know, again, pagan fairy themes, but we also do some different things. You know, this one, my favorite, don't drink and fly. We also have one that says don't fly, or don't smoke and fly, and the witch is upside down. Big popular one is the live, laugh, love, of course. Oh, yes. So my husband does beautiful work there. And my daughter's getting into the business as well, making slime right now, but my husband's also teaching her the wood burning. We've got lots more other things. I'm constantly changing and doing new things, and I'm going to try this now, and finding what works. And I'm very excited to release my new Halloween Apothecary line this summer. Had a preview of it at Trunk or Treats in Palmer and Munson this year, and they went over pretty well, so I'm excited to see how they do.
That's good. You use the word pagan.
Yes.
And that means different things to different people.
Correct.
What do you mean when you talk about pagan?
To me, pagan is someone who believes in nature, and that all living creatures are connected with nature, that we are no different or better or worse than the trees and the clouds and the frogs and every living creature. Most pagans believe in more than one deity. It's not necessary, but many of us do. Many of us will celebrate pagan holidays following a Norse calendar or a Celtic calendar. I follow the Celtic calendar, the agricultural wheel of the year. And so some, believe in, the magic of the world, and not, like Hollywood magic, but real magic, the magic in ourselves, our strength, the beauty in simple things like the breeze on your face, or the sunlight, or a powerful thunderstorm, and just the energy, and can feel it. Some have gifts where they're more in touch with those energies than others. And it's just, when I found paganism, I really found a connection, and it just made the world a more beautiful place, and made my understanding of my place in it much deeper.
Yeah, and I think that, you make a good point, that everything is interconnected.
Absolutely.
And I think you could have almost any belief system, and it would still be based on that idea that everything is interconnected.
Absolutely.
So it's interesting that people tend to use the word pagan, kind of meaning just not Christian.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. But I think, I know, as you well do too, that a lot of our holiday observances are based on old pagan customs.
Correct.
So, it's really, and I loved what you said about not Hollywood magic,
Yes.
but the magic that's within us.
Absolutely.
And I think that the work you do really shows that. We've got some pictures here. Here's some of your jewelry. And here we can see a lot of the wire wrap.
Yes.
These are really interesting. Is there a symbolic meaning to that, or?
No, actually, it was something I actually came across on Pinterest and wanted to give it a try.
Okay.
I actually originally thought it might be something fun for my daughter to do, and she was into it for about 5 minutes. And so I took it over. They're made with tools I got from the hardware store.
Okay.
They're just washers from the hardware store, and I painted them with nail polish. And I love making beautiful things, and thought it'd be something different. Maybe, purchasing a stone to wear. Stones are very unique to the wearer, and you have to feel the connection and the energy with it. And it may not fit for everybody. So giving something different that might just be, this is a beautiful piece that might go with a particular outfit.
Right. Like this is really interesting there. Oh.
That is a wire-wrapped key. I love the symbolism of the key. That a key literally opens a door, so it's a portal to new opportunities, and that's a symbol that connects very personally to me. And so I thought those would be kind of fun. They're actually quite complicated to make, so I don't make them quite as often as I would like.
Yeah. And these over here, are those like little vials?
Yes, these are fairy bottles.
Okay.
So little glass bottles with sand, glitter, flowers, different stones with charms, little fairy dust to take with you for good luck and happiness.
That's wonderful. And I see here the wire wrapping is stainless steel.
Yes.
So it will not tarnish.
Correct.
And you also have earrings.
Yes. I started off making earrings, like you see some I teach in the Palmer school system, so these are for our school spirit. But I do a lot of the pagan jewelry, because when I first got into paganism, finding pagan earrings were almost impossible. Nobody sells them. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to make them, and I'm going to sell them.
Okay. these here with the moon and the butterfly, just absolutely beautiful.
Thank
and
you.
this is what, a lotus flower?
Correct.
It's just turned a little bit, so it's a little hard for me to tell. And of course, the peace symbols, and then the little mushroom.
Fairy mushrooms, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Just very nice. And there's some
Thank you.
fairies up there. And then the signs. So, how do you guys come up with, okay, this is what we'll put on the sign, and how do you?
Some of the ideas I take from other things that are out there, and then I make it my own. Some of them are straight up, the Perfectly Wicked. Someone else designed that one, and I purchased the design for it. Some of them are my own creation. Popular saying, something Wiccan this way comes, play on the phrase, something wicked this way comes.
Right.
That's an older phrase that I'm sure a lot of people have heard from Harry Potter, but it's much older than that. I do a lot of different things at Halloween time. I have another booth at a store in Oxford, Massachusetts, called Enchanted Gift Loft, and I have a lot of my signs there. I have a new one I created that's not pictured here. That's Become Your Own Hero, and it's a picture of a female archer. And I think in today's society, I really love that one because women don't need men to be their hero. They can be their own hero. We have our own strength, and which is very prevalent in paganism, is the strength of women. Not that men are less important, but the point is that we are equal, and we are strong in our own right, which is important.
Which, kind of goes back to that whole interconnectedness
Yes.
thing, and as you said, no person or species or anything is more or less than the other. And I think that's really important for girls to understand.
Absolutely.
Because, we still are a rather patriarchal society.
We are.
Here's one I love that says, "Don't hide your magic."
Absolutely. Yeah. Paganism has always been very misunderstood. Again, thanks to Hollywood and the Catholic Church from centuries ago. Women were feared for their strength. And the purpose of that sign is you don't have to be afraid of who you are. And if society doesn't see you as fitting the perfect mold of what you're supposed to be, that's perfectly fine. And we're not supposed to be all the same, or else the world would be boring.
Right. As a therapist, I can, basically I'm telling my clients constantly, don't hide your magic. Don't hide who you are.
Absolutely.
And I think that says it so well. This symbol over here, it's like a circle with the 2 quarter moons.
Yes.
Can you give me more information on that?
Sure. That is the symbol of the triple goddess. It's the phases, so the full moon and then the quarter moons on each side, or representing the 3 sides of femininity, being maiden, mother, and crone. So the 3 aspects of growing up as a woman, and it's the main symbol of the goddess.
Great. Yeah, they show up well on the screen here, but they're even better in person. The one you brought with you
Might actually be a little bit dark for the screen.
Yeah, it's coming up pretty nice.
Okay.
Dream Among the Stars.
Absolutely.
Such a beautiful saying. Is that one that you just heard, or?
I've heard it before, and I love that phrase. When I was a child, I grew up looking at the stars a lot. I actually wanted to be an astronaut when I was a child, because just looking up at the stars was just amazing and just a wonder. And I still feel a sense of calm and peace and connectiveness when I look up in the sky.
That's wonderful. So here are some of your fairy wands,
Yes.
and also the
fairy dust bottles.
fairy dust bottles.
Yep.
I couldn't remember what you called them.
Yeah.
The fairy wands, I would imagine children gravitate to.
Yes, and that was part of what I did. I noticed in all the fairs I did, the jewelry and the decorations and things I made were aimed at grown-ups. And children would come to my booth and they would be wondered by all the things they would see, but there was nothing really for them. And I work with children and I love working with children. I have a child of my own, and paganism is important, and just, you know, the wonder of being a child, whatever your religion is, and the belief in fairies and putting on a pair of wings and running through the garden. It's a magical feeling as a child, and I wanted to bring that. So I have a new line for children. My Halloween Apothecary jars are glass and are meant for decorations, but I wanted to make a version for children. These are plastic, so they can, you know, decorate them and put them in their bedrooms or play with them, and they're not going to get broken. And so,
wonderful.
and the fairy wands as well. I did, my first wands were actually with snowflakes at winter time, and they came out very nice, and the kids seemed to like them a lot.
So the like the unicorn horns.
Yes.
Where do you harvest unicorn horns?
Well, from a very magical place in my garden that's a secret. And no unicorns are harmed in the harvesting of unicorn homes, I promise.
All right. Here's something new, I believe, that you have,
Yes.
which are the dragon eggs.
Yes, these are brand new. I didn't bring any tonight because all of my inventory is currently at stores. Yes, so dragon eggs. So I wanted to reach more of the fantasy side for boys in particular. You know, fairies and stuff may not be appealing to some boys, and maybe if they are, that's totally cool. But so I thought the idea of the dragon eggs, my husband actually came up with the idea of putting them in the plastic cloche. But yeah, my daughter helped me make some of these. They were kind of a process, but they came out really cool, and they seem to be, I'm really excited about them, and I have another batch I'm working on making at the moment.
Out of curiosity, how well do they ship?
I haven't shipped any yet, but they should ship fine. They're all glued together. They're very light, so it wouldn't be difficult to ship them at all.
Because I have a son in Baltimore who I think would love one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the next few months, I'm planning on getting more of my inventory online to be selling. During the school year, it's hard to find the time to do everything, but by this summer, I will definitely have more posted online so that I can.
I think
sell them.
that's the big difficulty in crafting. Is it's a lot of fun to create things.
Yes.
But getting them to the public can be daunting.
Absolutely. Packing everything up and bringing them to the stores, and then you have to hope that the store has enough visibility that people actually go there. Just a Little Craft Store is a wonderful store, but it's brand new, so a lot of people don't know about it because it's in a building that for the longest time didn't really have much happening in it, and so it's still working on getting that visibility and packing everything up and taking them to craft fairs, and again hoping people show up, and
Right.
It's tough.
Well, not only that, but at the craft fairs, there can be so much to see.
Absolutely.
That I think you run the risk of missing something because you're on overload.
Right. Or people get to your booth and it's like, man, I love your stuff, but I already spent all my money.
Yeah, there's that too. The name of the company is Mystic Grove Goods.
Yes.
How did you come up with that?
my husband and I sat for hours and hours and hours just like trying to find names that would give the right sound for what we were trying to do. You know, mystical was pretty obvious. Like the grove part came from just our love of nature. My husband very much loves the forest. I love gardens and flowers, and so it kind of seemed like, you know, grove like tucked into a magical cocoon in nature.
Yeah, that's a wonderful name.
Thank you.
So you also have some new projects you're working on.
Yes, I do. I've recently started a Facebook page called Magic with Music Hat, and I'm going to be expanding to a YouTube channel very soon. And my goal is to provide craft projects, music, dancing, singing, and pagan education for children and families. And locally, I'm also going to be offering workshops and, you know, like group club settings for pagan children or nature-loving children in general, to learn how to make some of the things I make, like fairy wands and things like that, offering a chance, a safe place for pagan children, pagan teenagers to be able to sit and talk with one another and talk out maybe how they feel growing up as a pagan youth, and just general education about what the holidays are, what is magic, what is the purpose of a wand, and so forth, and what it's not, and just having some fun music, dancing for pagan children, because they're highly unrepresented online, as far as there's not a lot of pagan music out there, especially for children, and I aim to change that.
That's wonderful. And I think it's important that people realize that part of the pagan education is not to convert children.
Oh, absolutely.
But to promote understanding.
Absolutely.
And I think, you know, my experience growing up in the 60s and exploring world religions was that the more you learned about other religions, the better you understood your own.
Absolutely.
And the better you realized that there are very few differences.
Absolutely. Yeah, the world is in such chaos, and people are always fighting with one another over, well, I believe this and this is correct and this is like, but if you actually sat down and compared it, we all believe the same thing. We just do it in different ways, but it's really all, you know, whatever your deity is, or if you don't believe in one, we're all, you know, looking for some purpose and some understanding of our place in the world. And whoever we talk to, if that brings us comfort and that brings us peace and understanding, then that's wonderful. Whatever label you give that higher power.
Yeah. You know, you were talking before about magic, and it's interesting to me that as children, we totally believe in magic.
Absolutely.
You know, we believe in fairies, we believe in, and then we sort of grow and we become cynical. But I think we all need to find that
Absolutely.
magic in our lives.
Especially now with the stress and chaos of our world, you know, we forget about the magic. We forget about the playfulness and the simplicity of life. We forget to stop and smell the roses and just enjoy what's around us because of the busyness of what we have to do to earn a living, take care of our families, whatever it is that we do to get through our day. And children don't have all that yet. But then as they even go through school, that creativity, that freedom there's not as much of a place for it. And I think that, in my opinion, there's a lot more adults that are finding their way back to paganism nowadays, because we need to find some kind of peace in the chaos to keep our sanity.
And you're really right. And I think that we tend to think of magic in terms of kind of mystical happenings, but there's so much magic in just looking at a flower.
Absolutely.
Or a butterfly. And I think, that a lot of your work really leads people to look at the magic, the wrapped stones. Just to see the color of the stone, and putting aside any qualities that stone may have for people, just the beauty of it.
Absolutely.
And to realize that this is something that is naturally occurring.
Absolutely. And that's what first attracted me to the stones, and the magical qualities that they possess. Even if you don't feel that, and often I don't, but again, the beauty of it. I love when I see put some crystals in front of me, and I'm like, and I love it. It's just the beauty, and being able to find those things in nature and know that those come from nature. It wasn't made in a factory. Might have been cut there, but it was not made there. And just the natural beauty, and and the same thing with the fairy things. Have I seen a fairy in my garden? No, I haven't. I hope someday I will. But just the thought, even if I can't see them, that maybe they're there, even if it's probable not, but maybe they're there, and that magic that. And not I can't turn anyone into a frog. We can't fly through the night on broomsticks. That would be fun. I wish we could. But that kind of Hollywood magic isn't real magic. Magic is believing in yourself when the world is tumbling down around you, and you know your own strength. It's like, I can step beyond this, and I see something else. I see the magic in music. That's where I believe my magic lies, is in my creativity and in my music. When I'm writing a song and when I'm singing a song, if it's someone else's or my own, just that power and the emotion that is involved in that music is why I got into teaching music in the first place. It just became such a profound part of my life growing up, and I wanted to share that wonder with children, and it's been a wonderful journey.
Yeah. And I think that it is such a needed thing at this point.
Absolutely.
Tracey, I want to thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
And sharing all this. And I'll have to have you back sometime to share your music with us.
That would be wonderful.
And I want to thank you all for tuning in. And we'll see you again next time on Creative Connections. From the inner sense of time comes the ancient poet's rhyme, bringing us the master key to open up the mystery. From the depth of time and space, we arrive in quiet grace, finding what is meant to be. As we explore the mystery, pouring forth from days gone by, we can hear the poet sigh. From the depth of ecstasy, moving into mystery.